Hello everyone, so we're going to apply to University of Melbourne. So I want you to do exactly as I'm doing as we go through the webinar so that at the end of the webinar you will have applied to the University of Melbourne. So always start in Google because the university websites are very hard to navigate. So I'm going to say apply to uh, University of Melbourne online undergraduate application. Okay, then you're gonna have this come up and you're gonna want to go to your online application web portal. There you go. Now you're here. Okay, this is the screen you should see. You should look at all of these things and read them, making sure that you look at the entry requirements for degrees. Remember, University of Sydney allows you to apply with the SAT or ACT and high school diploma. Melbourne has more requirements and you can only apply with the IB. There are some other exceptions. They have foundation year. You can take extra tests to try and get it qualified, but basically full diploma students have a direct pathway for University of Melbourne and partial students do not. So partial students who are trying to apply to Melbourne should come see me or Miss Heather. So if you're a full IB diploma student and you've looked at all this stuff, you're going to apply now. Okay, how to apply. How to apply and manage your application. So I'm going to read all these things. I'm a new student, so I'm going to apply as a new student. Okay, so you see here we have our steps. Pretty straightforward. If you just watched the webinar for University of Sydney, it's going to be very similar. Other given names. This is my middle name, so I'll put Edward. Preferred given name, you can leave this blank, but this may be if you have multiple names. Family name is apellido. Previous family name, you can leave blank unless you've been married, which I don't believe anyone in the senior class has been married. Date of birth, I'm going to put something in here. And there. Okay, there we go. Gender, you can do whatever you want. I identify as male, so I'm going to put male. Email address, put that in. Same thing. Now you should input all this stuff. I'm going to input the number of the school. Okay, there it is. Address details, same thing. I'm going to put the address of the school. Now, this part of the University of Melbourne process can be very frustrating. Every drop-down menu can spark one of those thinking wheels. It can be very frustrating. So just make sure you have good internet access. Make sure you have good internet access while you're doing this application. So I'm going to put El Rodeo 14200. Skip all of that. Town, it's always Santiago. Okay. Now, nothing else is required, so you should just leave it like that. We don't have a state. They don't require zip code, so you don't need to put anything in, just that. Street address, including your casa, if you have one, and our city. Okay. Citizenship, most of us are going to be international student. Please indicate your citizenship. If you're planning to study onshore in Australia under student visa or other permanent visas, select international student with a student visa. So that's me. That's most of us. We're going to be that. There it is. So it comes up. International student, country citizenship. I'm going to just say what I am, which is United States. There it is. Permanent overseas address details. We're just going to make it the same address, right? So you can go like this. Bam. Santiago and Chile. There. Okay. Country of dual citizenship. Now, this is important. A lot of people think that it gives you a better chance to get in if you have more citizenships. It doesn't in Australia. If you have multiple passports, you should always use the passport of the country that has a better relationship with Australia to make your visa's process easier. So if, for example, you're a Chilean Iranian student who has both an Iranian passport and a Chilean passport, you should always use your Chilean passport. That's sort of an obvious, maybe more extreme example, but always look at the visa process for student visa in Australia and the list of countries that are what are called level 1 security, which means that the countries do not have an increase in the amount of wait time you have. Chilean passport holders, USA passport holders, lots of other European countries, Asian countries, particularly Japan and Korea, have very good relationships with Australia, and their visa processes are very easy. So don't make the visa process harder than it needs to be by trying to put in a dual citizenship of Venezuela, for example. You don't want to put in a citizenship of a country that is less stable. You want to put in the passport that you have that has the best visa process that you can do. If you have questions about that, you can ask, but it's usually pretty straightforward which passport you should use in this case. Please provide the country where this is being submitted. So I'm going to say Chile, right? There you go. Student-agent relationship. Okay, we're not educational agents, so you can leave this blank. Okay. Current details, cultural heritage, including the country in which you were born. So here we go. I'm going to just do USA. There it is. Once again, that spinning blue wheel, so frustrating in the process. It takes forever sometimes. Okay. Ugh. See, even if you make a mistake, still does the pinwheel thing. There we go. Made a mistake. Pinwheel comes up again. If you're doing this live with me, you're experiencing the same thing. Good. Year of entry to Australia. If you're not born in Australia and are not an overseas resident, please enter the year you entered Australia. If you're unsure or do not know the enter, leave it blank. So most of you are an overseas resident residing overseas. So everyone should leave this blank unless you were born in Australia. So main language spoken at home, we got English, so that's what we say. Although if you say another language like Spanish, let's just put that in to see what happens. Looks like they have every language in the world here. We're going to put Spanish and see what happens. Okay, nothing. Aboriginal status, as far as I know, no one is an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander in the senior class. Have you previously studied at the University of Melbourne? No. Same thing, the pinwheel comes up. But while it's waiting up here, it looks like now they allow you to answer other questions, so that's pretty good strategy. Details of disability, I'm going to say no. Good. I'm going to agree to terms and conditions. Always read the terms and conditions. That's important. I'm also going to say no here. Same thing. Pinwheel. Takes forever. And then proceed. Because I didn't click one of the buttons down here, even though I did already agree to it, looks like the pinwheel kicked out my thing. So going step by step in Melbourne is important. There we go. Now we're registered. Here we are. Now we're going to continue here. Year 12 completed. Information for government reporting purposes only. Okay, so year 12 completed. We're going to say no. The year, we leave blank. Year 12 ID, no. You leave all of this blank. Now it says or equivalent. Okay, so we're going to put in year 12 school. And when you put in Nido de Aguilas, look at that. We actually come up. Because we have so many kids that go to Melbourne, we're actually in their system. Well, that's pretty cool. Year 12, right? Year 12 results, you put in what you are. You see they don't even have SAT. This is not the ACT that we know of. This is that's the Australian thing. But we are International Baccalaureate, we're going to say. So there we are. Highest level of education. Further studies. Further studies in Australia means tertiary or university. So we don't have any of that. So you skip it. And proceed. Now this is for previous study records. Remember, previous study records is further studies, not high school. So you are going to leave this blank. Taking some time here. Now I'm going to look at my details. Yep, everything looks good. And proceed with registration. Now they're going to register me. Takes some time. We have been successfully registered. So now I've been sent an email with my username and password. I will need this next time, so I don't need it now. So I'm just going to proceed. Good. Now you're going to choose your major. Now remember, at Melbourne, they only have like 5 majors total, right? And most of our students will only apply to 2, either Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. So use the criteria below to search for what you apply for. Now remember, you're not doing a crazy lots of searching here. It's not like University of Sydney, New South Wales, UQ, other schools in Australia. Melbourne's super straightforward. They really only have 2 majors. Most of our students are only going to apply to 2. Now some students may apply to commerce or to the biomed major, but those are really special circumstances. Most students will apply for either Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. So I'm going to go ahead and put in arts here. And then you really just kind of want to leave open all of this stuff, but you can put bachelor's degree here. And then years of availability, you're going to want to put in the year you want to go. So as we did before in the Sydney example, we're going to apply for March, which most of our students will apply to the University of Melbourne for March entry 2021. So we're going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to click search. Don't put too much information in there because you won't find anything. So just put that in. You have here, okay, I got my 2021. Parksville is their main campus, so you shouldn't click on anything that's not Parksville. Period study, start year intake. Start year intake, that means March. Mid-year intake, that means July. So if you want to go in July, you're going to actually put 2020. Okay? Because this would be a year. All right, so I'm going to say I'm going to go at start year intake, which is March, on campus, full-time, undergraduate, international fee place. That means I'll be paying $55,000. There we go. So now I have course, bachelor's been added to my application. Great. Proceed. Here we go. Now it says, in some of your application, make changes. If you're happy with selections, you can push proceed. So here I am. Yep, preference, good. Everything's fine. Okay, gonna go for it. Proceed with application. Good, now we're in the apply section. Once you read this, we're going to look at here and look at your most appropriate qualification, which for everyone is going to be IB. You need to provide one answer, so we're going on IB. Now we have our supporting documentation is here. Please upload all academic transcripts of secondary school studies, including official explanation of grading system and statement of completion if applicable. So what you're going to do here is you're going to upload both your USA High School Diploma transcript and your IB predicted grades. Both of those need to go here. We have, including official explanation of the grading system, we don't need that because our grading system is standardized USA and IB. So you don't need the statement, you just need to upload those two things. Gap in study, explain if there's a gap in your studies. If you commence tertiary studies, you can answer no. No one has commenced tertiary studies. Tertiary studies are university studies, okay? So, will there be a gap of 6 months or more between the completion of your secondary studies and the commencement of your course? So everyone can put no for this, even if you're going in March, because you graduate with the IB in July to August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. You provide at least one answer, and a CV, statement of activities, is required to explain the gap in studies. Now, we've had students in the past always put no here at the commencement of the course they've applied for, and there is no issue with that. If there's a gap of 6 months or more between the completion of your secondary studies and the commencement of the course you've applied for, the selection committee would like to understand why this has occurred. Well, for us, it's self-explanatory. Yeah. So, if you put yes, now, if you want to go in March 2021, and you're going to explain what it is you're going to do over that gap time, you have to put a statement of activities or a CV saying what you're going to do. The statement of activities that you can upload is really what you're going to do between July and March, starting Australian University. Taking gap time, having a job, there are a variety of answers that work well here. And we haven't had a student yet be rejected because of their justification on this. So University of Melbourne just wants to make sure that you're not just like chilling and doing nothing, basically. So if you're going in March to the University of Melbourne and you have to write a statement of activities, we can help you with that, and it'll be an additional part of your application. It doesn't have to be very long, but it is required of University of Melbourne now if you want to go for the March start. Okay. Academic results, here we are, tertiary studies again. This is for university, so we're skipping it. English language proficiency. So you provide at least one answer. Indicate how you've met our English language proficiency. We'll pick down here. We look at here, approved secondary school English subject. That's if you're taking IB as part of your diploma. There you go. If your English score is above the university requirements that you consider for a package English course, you could say no, because your scores won't be below what they are requiring within the IB. Supporting documents, language proficiency. You can upload a TOEFL here if you want to. They do have the TOEFL IELTS as an option, or Cambridge certificate if you want that. You can upload it down here. I don't have one, so I'm just going to leave it blank. Appointed representative. Have you appointed an authorized representative to manage your application? No. Usually you don't appoint a representative for your application unless you have a probability of being sick or going to the hospital. You can have a parent there, but I usually recommend students say no. Requirement, sponsorship arrangements. So, external sponsorship arrangement relating to your study. This includes sponsorship by a company, home government, or scholarship body. So that kind of means if anyone aside from your parents is paying some stuff, this is what you tell them, okay? But I'm going to say no because I don't have it, and most kids don't have it. You now indicate you're trying to apply for scholarships at the University of Melbourne. So if you want to apply to University of Melbourne scholarship, but remember, just like University of Sydney, it's kind of like only if you have a 45 in the IB, okay? Apply for the scholarship, I'm going to say no. Advanced standing, this is only if you've done university studies. None of us have, so we're going to say no. Requirement, accommodations options. So the accommodations options range a range of high quality university approved student accommodation. We're going to add an answer to accommodations. Are you applying to accommodations? Everyone should put yes, unless you're an Australian kid living at home, in which case you have a completely different application. So everyone's going to say yes. Further requirement. Okay, information about how to apply for the MAP. So I'm not going to do that right now, but you should definitely go through with it, especially if you're thinking about attending the University of Melbourne. But for now, I'm going to click Save and Continue. I have to put none under tertiary studies. Have you ever taken them? No. Let's see what it does now. No. And then we're good. Add answer to accumulated results. No one needs to do that. Now let's save and continue and see what happens. And looks like you need to complete at least one supporting document required for application requirements, CV statement, activities, and gap year. So they won't even let me continue unless I upload a statement here. So I'm going to upload a statement. I'm just going to upload a screenshot. Open and upload. Good. Okay. So if you are going in March, you're going to have to make a statement. I'm going to amend my gap time so that I don't have to upload a statement right now for this example. But if you are going in March to the University of Melbourne and that's your first choice plan here, you're gonna have to have that. Melbourne's website even asks you, are you sure you want to change your mind about things? So there we go. Now let's see if it lets me continue. And there we go. So we're done. That's applying to the University of Melbourne. Here's the payment screen. You can look over everything before you hit send. Make sure it's all correct. And then we're down to paying. That's it. Once you're ready to do, you've got the pay and submit application. I'm not going to do that. And you agree to the terms and conditions, and then you get to the complete. That's it. That's applying to the University of Melbourne. You've been doing this with me now, so go ahead and pay after you check through everything, make sure it's right, and congrats. That's applying to the University of Melbourne.